Back in the 70s, a man named Dr. William Shockley, a noted scientist, embarked upon the mission of proving to the world that black people are genetically inferior. After the debate you're now going to see, Dr. Shockley went back into oblivion.
And it goes this way, that you would offer a bonus to everyone to be sterilized. Now, we know we have a population explosion problem. We know that in India that bonuses in the form of transistor radios are offered to people.
Would this bonus be directed to black people specifically, more than whites?
Mr. Brown, what did I say just a moment ago? I said, regardless of sex, race, or welfare status. The offer is based upon the best estimates, best scientific estimates that one can have of any genetically carried disabilities. Now, there are some, I think, that any humane person would have no doubt about. And Dr. Welsing talked about dominant and recessive genes. I want to point out that sometimes a dominant gene can be a very bad thing, and it is a very bad thing for a neurological disease called Huntington's chorea, which is something like multiple sclerosis.
Which is more prominent in white people than black people.
That is correct. And I think that one should offer a large bonus for anyone who might be potentially carrying Huntington's chorea.
Dr. Shockley,
beyond this, it goes on with some other factors in this, but Dr. Welsing wishes to speak.
Are you aware that white people have more genetic diseases that affect their nervous system than people of color, than black people?
I wouldn't be at all surprised. And I think blacks apparently have higher heart problems.
Would you suggest that all of these white people who are carrying these defective genes, you know, whose families may carry these defective genes, that they be examined and it would be suggested to them that they be sterilized? Would you suggest this?
Yes, I think I would, probably, in general.
Go ahead, your Unblack Journal, please.
My theory was, I wrote the paper in 1969. I wrote a paper called The Cress Theory of Color Confrontation and Racism. And the sole reason behind writing that paper was an attempt to understand the behavior of white people in relationship to all people of color, every place in the world, black, brown, red, and yellow people. And the paper was presented to the Americans at the National Medical Association, the section on psychiatry in neurology, because back in 1969, the Black Caucus in the American Psychiatric Association, we had said that racism, and when we talk about racism, we're talking about the white supremacy behavior of white people, that racism was the #1 mental health problem in the nation, and it was the #1 cause of other mental health problems. And I wanted to understand what this thing of racism really is all about, because it's the thing that has caused woe and misery and suffering for the vast majority of the people on this planet that are classified as non-white. And in my attempt to understand why the necessity of white people to keep saying that white is superior and that the condition of non-white is inferior, and the more I thought about it, in conjunction with an idea that a friend of mine had, that racism was a worldwide behavioral system for the maintenance of white supremacy by a small minority of people, I put those ideas together with what we know about genetics, what we know about the condition of skin whiteness itself. The condition of skin whiteness is the genetic inability to produce skin pigment called melanin. This is a genetic recessive trait. It is a genetic deficiency state, not as defined by Cress Welsing, but defined by geneticists and dermatologists, that the inability to produce the skin pigment of melanin or melanin pigment is described as albinism. And I think that white people, even though most white people are not consciously understanding their problem in genetics, they are certainly aware that they are genetically dominated by people of color. That's why it was a statement, one drop of black blood makes you black, because people of color have the genetic capacity to annihilate white people. And so unless white people control the reproductivity of people of color, then we can postulate that perhaps one day there won't be any white people. And I think that the very survival of white people necessitates that they project genetic inferiority on people of color because it is they who really are aware that they are genetic recessive and perhaps genetically inferior to people of color. And I am not saying this to call the condition of skin whiteness to say, well, no, white people are inferior. I'm not saying it for that purpose, but I think that it is of prime importance for the majority of people in the world to understand why it is that white people have to, the effective majority, large numbers of white people, have to move in a hostile and an aggressive way against people of color and have to constantly focus on it's you who's genetically inferior because they realize that there's something wrong with their genetic status. Now,
may I take a call?
Oh, sure.
All right.
I'm not the girl on videos. I'm not a bitch or a hoe. I'm redefining what you see when you look at me. So whoa, crown me queen, redeem me, crown me queen. I'm supreme. Crown me queen, redeem me, crown me queen. I'm supreme.
See, our brain has been turned completely upside down. And our brain is not functioning. Brains are not functioning for our best interests. And we have to go back. See, it's okay to be wrong. We were, we thought when we were enslaved, just take off the chain.
Yeah.
If you take off the chains, everything is going to be okay. So the chains were taken off, and the next thing they got these laws. So we struggle with the laws called the Civil Rights era. And white people said, fine, we'll change the laws, but we're going to hire some of their so-called musicians. And we're going to do some psychological warfare on these people, the likes of which they've never seen, because they don't know what we're doing. So as long as we give the musicians some jewelry and about 15 cars apiece, and we will have them train their people. See, if you look at the black people in the civil rights movement, when those people went up against dogs and horses and being beaten, and they were walking in dignity and talking about black is beautiful, black pride, black dignity, black self-respect. And the white people said, we gotta get rid of this. And since they don't understand what we're doing, we can sock it to them. We're gonna give them superfly, and drugs, and guns. And then we're going to start training them to call themselves niggers and saying it's a term of endearment. And call themselves gangsters and thugs and dogs and bow wow. Bitches and hoes. Now, if they ever recover, see, if people can take you where you're going to call yourself a nigger, a bitch, and a hoe, and a dog. Let's give them some more eggs. I can imagine when they get together. These people are so brick-brown. These are about the dumbest people on this planet. We can do anything. There's an African proverb that says, the monkey was so busy doing what everybody else was doing that one day, monkey cut his throat. See, that's some deep stuff in some of those African proverbs. See, monkey monkey see, monkey do. What you doing today, white people? Oh, sex with dogs. Ooh, goody, give me some of that.
Whatever they do.
You see, so I see the Creator. Black as a trillion midnights. Eyes shining brighter than a billion suns. Whose hair does coil tighter than a million springs, radiating all energy throughout the universe. We beseech thee, one and only one, to give us total strength to carry out thy will for the universe, to establish justice and live in peace.
Child, held your hand through trials. Did you underground so you couldn't be found? I even felt your shoes when they jailed or killed you. I think it's safe to say I paid my dues. Your present disregard for me destroys the black family. Keeps us from
Their genetic survival. And they are threatened by black male masculinity, then it will occur, I have to reduce his masculinity. Yeah, we just recently had the president at Morehouse have to say the male students cannot wear high-heel shoes and dresses and carry purses. So something is happening, again, within the total context of a system of racism, white supremacy. Neely Fuller, who wrote the textbook for victims of racism a number of years ago, in the late mid-70s, he used to say in the system, because he was the first person to talk about racism as a system, and he said that as the system of racism, white supremacy moves on, the system is going to have black men wearing dresses. Now, to hear that in the 70s, people said, oh, this is way out. And here we are. You see, there's some black pediatricians who are saying we are developing epidemic levels of the effeminization of young black males. Well, I say the pants sagging down is just subconscious invitation for homosexuality. You see, it's revealing the buttocks. See, so the pants are getting lower and lower and lower. The next step is to step out of the pants altogether. And so you step out of the pants, you're going to put on a dress. The effeminization is an essential ingredient of white genetic survival, and the only thing that can prevent it is black people becoming conscious or becoming determined that this is not going to happen to them, because if the black men are destroyed, then the black people are gone, and we have the state of genocide.
I see a lot of I don't like, dog. Y'all full of it. I'ma take the diaper off. Call it what you want. Some would say homophobic. I refuse to accept too many loping. They want my opinion in the closet, the very same closet they climbed out. Now they want to shove me in and lock it. Throw away the key, cause they don't want to talk about the hypocrisy. Honest discourse with its democracy. The black narrative from the isosceles shows no misogyny. I challenge y'all to read. Don't fall for this fake anthropology. Don't fall for this pseudoscience. It ain't no gay gene, man, these kooks all lying. So what they saying is the Most High flawed when he made them in reference to sexuality. Even though he perfectly made galaxies and nature, it's a learned behavior, a sick psychology.
We are developing epidemic levels of the effeminization of young black males. Well, I say the pants sagging down is just subconscious invitation for homosexuality. The next step is to step out of the pants altogether. And so you step out of the pants, you're going to put on a dress. The black men are destroyed. Then the black people are gone. And we have the state of genocide.